All right, the first thing I want to talk about is f of x equals x squared. Remember, underneath f of x, I just want you to write, that's a fancy word for y equals, right? So I'm proud of some of you guys who remember that. So just make sure you put down y equals x squared. All right, next year you will learn this as it's called the parent function. All right, the reason why they call it the parent function is because it's the most basic form of that x squared. If you scroll down the page, you will see there's all different types of x squareds. There's all different types. But right now, this is called the parent function because it's just the most basic form. All right, it's the most basic form. Now, we're going to graph using a table. All right, I'm going to show you how to graph it on your calculator. I'm going to show you how to get to your table and look at the answers to make sure you're doing it correctly. Again, I tell everyone you have a tremendous advantage over everyone who does not know how to use a calculator. All right, especially when you're going to take the SATs, the ACTs. The more you know about the calculator, the easier it becomes. All right, with that being said, I think everyone in here knows how to, if I ask you what -2 squared is, what's -2 squared? 4. What's -1 squared? 0 squared, 1 squared, and 2 squared. And if I wanted to put -3 and 3, I could in there. But we have enough right now that we can just plot those points and you can see the outline of the graph. Now, I was serious when I said earlier, guys, if you don't ask me a question, you're going to be behind. All right, that's what I'm not understanding about some of you. Your parents pay all this money to get you good education. You just sit there and do nothing. And I don't understand it. All right, so immediately, if you're going, well, how is -2 squared 4? Believe it or not, I want to help you. And I will show you how -2 squared is 4. All right, but I can't read your mind. All right, if you don't tell me you don't know something, that's not embarrassing. All right, it's just not. All right, you got 8, 7 more weeks, whatever it is. All right, learn to be a good student. Ask some questions, but ask questions when you're what? Listening. All right, ask questions when you're listening. All right, now everyone just go ahead and plot those points real quick. All right, on that graph to the right. So we plot 0, 0. Then we plot 1, 1. Then we plot 2, 4. And then we plot -1, 1. Then we plot -2, 4. Now, the only thing we've ever learned is what? What function? Lines. We've only done lines. All right, so now all of a sudden this should be funny looking because it's not a line. All right, it's called a quadratic. So now when you graph it, believe it or not, it looks like a U shape. All right, it looks like a U shape. And then it has some special characteristics. So we're going to talk about those characteristics now. Of course, my iPad is a mess. It's not doing what I want it to do. It's supposed to draw the parabola. One more time. There we go. All right. So there is my parabola. Now, at the end, we're going to put little arrows here and arrows here because it continues up. All right, if we wanted to graph 3, 9, we could do that, 4, 16, and so on and so forth. All right, so now, does everybody agree? That's super easy. That's what you're supposed to be saying. All right, so now the lowest or the highest point on the graph is called the vertex. So right now, I want everybody to tell me what they think the vertex is. That's right, 0, 0. That is correct. The lowest point in this case is 0, 0. All right, is everybody with me on that? Is there a high point? No, because the lines or the arrows say that's going up indefinitely. All right, so the vertex is 0, 0. Now, there's also something called an axis of symmetry. there's an axis of symmetry. All right. The axis of symmetry is the line that goes through the vertex. So in this case, that is the axis of symmetry. The reason why they call it the axis of symmetry is because everything on the right is also on the what? Left. It's the mirror image of itself. All right. And that axis of symmetry is always going to be x equals whatever the x value of the vertex is. What's the x value of the vertex? 0. So this is the axis of symmetry. All right. This blue line right here is x equals 0. Remember, x equals 0 is always a vertical line. It's really and truly that simple. It's really and truly that simple. All right. Now, again, we need your help. All right. If you have your calculator, all right, and it's charged, all right, then we can show you how to do it. All right. If you don't have your calculator, it's not charged. We have time tomorrow and next week. Our test will probably be next Wednesday or whatever on graphing quadratics. All right. I haven't figured it out yet, but it'll be somewhere around there. Really simple unit, just learning how to graph a quadratic. All right. So now everybody take your calculator, go y equals, clear it out. All right. Go to y equals, remember y equals the top left. And then you just type in x and then hit squared. Now, to make sure everybody's in the same, remember we have to do zoom and then we hit standard and that will fit it into a 10 by 10 screen. Zoom standard. All right. And then does everybody see that? Right? Is everybody able to get the graph? What? Come on now. What, Avery? You got it? Anybody having a problem with their graph? Y equals x squared, and it should look just like that. Now, sometimes if your calculator's messed up, that's why I say you have to hit zoom standard, and it'll convert it into a 10 by 10 screen, because eventually I'm going to change the screen format for you because sometimes it doesn't fit on the window that we're at. All right. Hey, speak up. This is what I'm trying to tell you earlier. So go to y equals, did you type in x squared? The X button. Do you remember where that was? And then hit square. And then hit graph. Now zoom. Standard. Zoom. Standard is what number? 6. Let's go. Zoom standard is 6. All right. Anybody have problems with their calculator? Anybody have any questions? Okay. Now what I want you to do is, I personally like to put the numbers in myself. All right. So I want everybody to hit their table set. All right. So you have to hit second. And then the table set is right above the window. All right. Right above window. You want to hit that. And then you want your independent to be on ask. All right. So I'm going to say it one more time. Window, there's an actual word on the calculator that says window. Second, you have to hit the second button and then window. Because you want the blue button right above it. It says table set. Then you want to click down to independent and change it to ask. All right. Now, everybody's okay with that? Yeah. It could be on auto. That just means it's automatically going to put the numbers in for you, but I don't like that. I want to do it myself. So now everybody hit second and then graph. And now there's your table. And now type in -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. And what do you notice? Those points come in. All right, those points come in. All right. And that's what I mean by graphing a quadratic using a table. What?
You need to type it into that.
You have to go to y equals, you have to type in x squared.
Oh, it is.
Oh, sure. All right. What? Table.
Oh, I think that is fine.
That's table set. You already have that, correct?
Yeah.
Second table.
Yeah, that's fine.
Now type in -2, -1. Now type in -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and it should give you those numbers. Does anybody have any questions with that?
Oh, yeah.
It's really nice and really easy and super helpful. But again, as I was trying to tell everyone, if you're just sitting and your calculator's not working and you don't tell me, I can't help you. And now I'm going on to number 2 and you're sitting there not knowing what you want to do. And so now you're already behind again. All right, that's what I don't understand. All right, anybody not on the right track yet?
Mine has like a bunch of numbers under it.
Yeah, so you can just hit delete and it'll delete all the numbers.
Like clear.
I think I said delete. All right, now go down and then hit delete. Is it deleting them? It's a DEL button.
Oh, okay, wait, thank you.
All right, here we go. Now, again, all right, you got to practice a little bit. You got to practice. All right, very easy. Anybody have any questions? All right, so here we go. Now, the next one, all right, I want to show you what -x² does. All right, now, if I plug -2 in and squared, it becomes what? 4, but then it becomes what? -4, because the negative is done after you square. So everybody should do -4. And then what? What's -1? -1. 0 still is. 1 is. And then 2 is -4. So all this does right here, I want everybody to put this right next to it. We say in the math world, this reflects over the x-axis. So whenever you put a negative in front of the function, it reflects it over the x-axis. That's literally what they'll be teaching you in Algebra 2. It's called a reflection. Go.
So basically, the negative in terms of the x.
Yes. Right. Now, what I want to do is plot those points. And you can see what I mean now. And then graph it. And you will see it's been reflected over the x-axis. Tell me what.
How'd you get -2 or -4?
Because what's -2 squared? 4, right?
Yeah.
But then you make it negative because of that. You have to square first and then make it negative.
Wait, so
If I said -2 squared, that's -4, -4. That's how I got this number right here.
no, on the bottom, on the 2, the -4.
-2 squared, -4, -4.
So all of the x's are negatives because the x squared up there is a negative?
No, yes, exactly.
Okay.
This negative right here means you're multiplying all of the answers by -1. All right? What? Quickly.
When you're graphing quadratic equations, do the x values always have to be consecutive integers?
No. I mean, I'm just putting those numbers in myself.
So you can just do random numbers?
Yeah, but if you do random numbers, then you might not have the vertex. You might not be able to see. If you just did -100, -1,000, -1,000,000, that wouldn't make sense.
But does the middle one always have to be 0?
Well, we're getting to it. We're getting to it. Just listen as we progress. Go.
I know this is from like a while ago, but the numbers on the right side, those are the ones that go like up and down, and the other ones.
The X is left and right. The Y is up and down,
Well, okay.
right? Now slope was a different story, right? Slope was change in Y over change in X. So anybody have any questions with how that looks? All right, that's what it should be. Then I want everybody to tell me that the vertex here is what? It's 0, 0. And I want you to tell me the axis of symmetry. AOS colon X equals 0. And I want everybody right underneath this. This is called a what? The vertex is a what? Maximum. And the vertex up here was a what? Minimum. It's the lowest point on the graph. And on the second one, it is the highest point on the graph. Come on, Ashley. Yes, yes, right. In a minute, I'm going to show you. In a minute, I'm going to show you lots. These are just the most basic form. It can be anywhere. All right. I can draw in a minute. The parabola will be moved all over the place. All right. And your objective is to try to figure out what the vertex is. And I'll have a formula for you. It's super easy.
I'm like confused between like the vertex and the axis symmetry.
The axis of symmetry is just a line. The vertex is a point. Listen to what I just said, everyone. The axis of symmetry is a line. The vertex is a point. You hear me? X equals 0 is a vertical line. This is a point. The vertex is a location. The axis of symmetry is a line. Okay? What?
What? So you said white. Why is there G?
It can be any letter here. All right. F, G, H, doesn't matter. Generally, it's F. F stands for function. These are all functions. What?
Would the axis of
Function.
symmetry always be going vertical?
Yes, until you get to Algebra 2, and then I teach you how to rotate it going left and right. I wish I would. All right, here we go. Number 3, x squared minus 2x. All right. So now everybody go to y equals. And then you're going to type in x squared minus 2x. And then we're just going to go right to the table because I don't want to waste any time. I feel like everybody here can plug these numbers in, points on their own. So if I plug -2 in, I need everybody to look at their calculator on their table after they type this in under y1. Everybody type that in under y1, x squared minus 2x. Then you go over to the table, second graph. And now you're just typing in -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And if I plug -2 in, what do I get? 8. If I plug -1 in, if I plug 0, if I plug 1, if I plug 2, does everybody agree with that? Right, now tell me what happens if I plug in 3. And if I plug 4, I'm probably at 8. I knew all of those points because there's an axis of symmetry. This is going to be defined as the vertex. And I will show you how I know that in a minute also. All right, but that's the vertex. All right, so plot those points, -2, 8. Everybody plot the point -2, 8, then -1, 3. And then I want 0, 0. And then 1, -1. And then 2, 0. And then 3, 3. Now, the reason I did 3, 3, I kept going, was because it made a nice outline of the graph. Does everybody see the graph now? No, you wouldn't, but it's just helpful to see the graph. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to sketch the graph. And there's our graph. So now, all right, looking at that, Can everybody see what the vertex or where the vertex is at?
181.
Vertex is equal to 1 comma -1. Is it a maximum or a minimum? Minimum. And then I need the axis of symmetry. It's an equation. Nope. Axis symmetry.
1 minus 2.
This is the axis of symmetry right here. I need to know the equation of that line.
Y equals
Nope.
X equals
X equals what?
1.
1. I said the axis of symmetry is always X equals whatever the vertex is. Whatever the vertex. All right,
Yeah.
go.
Why is it 1 -1?
Because I looked at the graph and I saw the lowest point on the graph was 1 comma -1.
Okay.
You with me? Now, I want everybody to put this down. X equals -b over 2a is the axis of symmetry. And X equals -b over 2a is the X coordinate of the vertex. All right, I'm jumping a little bit ahead for tomorrow, but that's okay because you guys are doing great. So now I want to look at my equation over here. Above, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Somebody tell me what the b value is. What's b? Nope. -2. The b is -2. What's in front of the x? -2. That's the b value. So it's going to be I'm just showing you something. Negative. The b value is -2 over what's the a value? 1. So what's -2? 2. What's 2 times 1? What's 2 divided by 2? 1. We already knew that though, correct? Does everybody see what I'm showing you? Listen to what I'm saying. It's just a formula. All right, so tomorrow I'm going to show you more about the formula. Right now, it's just about graphing. What?
When you said that like B was -2, like how did you find?
I actually just looked whatever's in front of the x. And there's -2. Right, whatever's in front of the x is the b value. Whatever's in front of the x is the b value. Whatever's in front of the x squared is the a value. Whatever's after the x is called c, which is a constant. Yes. Well, it's kind of important in math to know if it's a minimum or a maximum. So it's the lowest point on the graph. Do you agree? Wow, lowest point is a minimum, right? The highest point would be, look. Well, that's finally a pretty good question. X squared. I want everyone to write it opens up. If it's positive x squared, it opens up. If it's negative x squared, it opens what? If it opens up, it's going to be a minimum. If it opens down, it's going to be a what? Maximum. It almost seems backwards until you understand what the graph looks like. But again, Evan, that's not something you have to memorize. All you got to do is look at the graph and say, is the vertex at the lowest point or is it at the highest point? You understand what I'm saying? So in question number 2, this is the highest point. So that's a what? Maximum. In question number 3, this is the what? Lowest point. So it would be considered a minimum. That's all there is to it. Very simple. All right. So let's knock out number 4 together. All right. So here we go. Everybody now go back to y equals. Everybody this time type in 2x squared plus 4x. And help me. -2 is what? 0. -1 is what? 0, 1, 2. All right, now, does everybody understand? I'm probably going to plot these points now. All right, so let's plot these points. -2, 0. Let's see if we can find it. -2, 0. -1, -2. 0, 0. 1, 6. Now, do I really need 2, 16? Okay, so now everybody look up. I'm going to show you something kind of nice. So from these dots right here, can someone tell me what they think the vertex is? -1, -2. Molly, good for you. No, you're not so confused.
No, what, why did you get this, like, where did you get a 6? Oh. Never mind, I thought there was a 2.
All right, look carefully. All right, so someone tell me what, now, the vertex. All right, so now, I want everybody to draw the axis symmetry. All right, I'm going to show you right here. This is my axis symmetry, correct? Now, here's the importance of the axis symmetry. So I need you to look up just for a quick second. This distance to the axis symmetry is how many units? So there's another point exactly over 1 unit. Up here, this is how far away? 2. So now what? 2 over. So now 1, 2. There's that dot right there. Is everybody with me on this? All right. So now you can draw the quadratic, also called a parabola. And there's your graph. So -1, -2 is the vertex. What is the blue line? The axis symmetry, which is x equals -1. X equals -1. All right. Very nice. Very easy. All right. Very easy. All right. Here we go. Let's do 5. Then you can do 6 for homework. All right. Everybody type it in real quick for me. Y equals x squared minus 2x plus 1. And then somebody tell me the 5 points. 9, 4, 1, 0, 1. Anybody? So here we go. Let's plot these points. There you have it. Those are my points. Now let's draw the axis symmetry. All right. And what's the vertex? Someone? What? 1, 0. Okay, what's the axis symmetry? Nope. It's always an equation of a line. X equals 1. Thank you very much. All right, now I want everybody to look at the axis symmetry, draw the axis symmetry, and now see this dot over here. How far away am I? 2, so I need to go what? 2 over. And there you have your graph. Anybody have any issues with that? Yes, sir.
You have to add the other dot.
Yes, I want you to add the other dot, just like up here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right. Generally, there's 5 points on the graph, but it doesn't matter to me, but I just want you to know what the ax symmetry is used for. All right. The ax symmetry, this parabola is an amazing geometric shape. There's so much application to it. All the satellite dishes are made from paraboloids. When you hear people like on a football field, now before we had the technology where they could put the actual microphone in the helmet and you could actually hear them, it was because of they had this parabola, all right, that they would aim and it would collect the signal or the waves, the sound waves, and it would collect them and it would shift it back to what's called the focal point. And they would put the microphone at the focal point, and then it would be able to hear all the sound waves. All the satellite dishes are designed as a parabola. All right. It's really kind of fascinating, actually. All right. So your job right now, all right, is go ahead and plot or try number 6. Type it in your calculator, put in the points, plot the points, draw the vertex, draw the ax symmetry, finish up the graph. All right. And then tomorrow we'll do kind of the same thing, except we'll expand a little bit on some terms. All right. Good job today, guys. And again, as soon as you get behind, it just piles up. All right. So you got to make sure those of you guys who are going away for Latin, make sure you listen to the videos.